Good morning, everyone. This is the Rules Committee. We have attained a quorum consisting of Councilman Jones, Councilwoman Sanchez, Councilwoman Bass, Councilwoman Reynolds Brown, and myself, Bill Greenlee. Ms. Marconi, will you please read the title of the first bill before us today?
Bill number 180008, an ordinance amending section 14-513 of the Philadelphia Code entitled TOD, Transit-Oriented Development Overlay District, to revise requirements and to designate several transit-oriented development transit stations, all under certain terms and conditions.
Thank you. Mr. Gregorski, good morning.
Good morning, Councilman Greenlee, members of the Rules Committee. I'm Marty Gregorski, the Division Director with the Development Division of the Philadelphia City Planning Commission, here to testify on Bill number 180008, which was introduced by Councilmember Carson Sanchez on January 25th of this year. Bill number 180008 designates 4 stations on the Market-Frankford line as transit-oriented development stations for the purposes of mapping the boundaries of the transit-oriented development overlay. These stations are Berks, York Dolphin, Allegheny, and East Tarsdale. 46th Street on the Market-Frankford line is the only station that is currently designated as a TOD station, and this bill would bring the total number of these stations in Philadelphia to 5. As a consequence of this bill, the boundaries of the TOD overlay would be expanded to include all lots lying in whole or in part within 500 linear feet of any entrance to or exit from these 5 stations. Councilmember Carson Sanchez worked with the PCPC staff to craft this legislation, which was intended to accomplish the following goals in the area surrounding these stations: to increase development potential, to foster a safer and better pedestrian environment, to provide greater incentives for the provision of public benefits by developers, including affordable housing, and to reduce parking requirements as a means of promoting alternatives to automobile usage. This legislation supports many of the goals recommended in the Philadelphia 2035 Comprehensive Plan. This City Planning Commission reviewed Bill number 180008 at its meeting of February 20th, 2017, and recommended it for approval, and I'd be happy to answer any questions at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Gregorski. Obviously, transit-oriented development is very important. So, Councilwoman Sanchez?
Yeah, just for the record, I want to thank the Planning Commission for working with us on this legislation. We believe this legislation will improve access to jobs and transit and schools through zoning incentives for compact building and restrictions on auto-related uses. The TODs, and particularly the stations that we've identified, are ones that are ripe for development. At the same time, we want to balance it out with some of the needs, including affordability, as was mentioned before. The Burke Station on Front Street will see increased density for mixed use and residential development. The York Dolphin Station, which is what we're calling our B Corp hub, we hope to attract new investment for high vacancy blocks that we have. It is an area that we have been working to create an identity around. The Allegheny Station, with all of its challenges, moves 30,000 people daily and has an opportunity for really incentivizing some of the public utilization, and we've been working with our partners, Impact Services, and giving K&A a new identity. And the Erie Torresdale Station, that by its makeup has been an area with auto-oriented utilizations, and we at the same time want to promote pedestrian-friendly environments. So I thank the Planning Commission, and I hope to earn the support of all my colleagues here on this committee. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Thank you for all the work you're doing on this important issue. Any other questions? Councilwoman Reynolds Brown?
Thank you, thank you. Good morning, good morning. Is this the first bill that is utilizing the, help me out, transit, thank you, the TOD?
This is the second. There was
yeah.
one already put in for 46th Street on the Market-Frankford line, but this is expanding that to 5. So it's
Okay.
finally starting to take off.
Okay, and is there practice in planning when new measures of this type then become real and are actualized or implemented, that there is some assessment after X number of months, 12 months or 24 months, to see if what was intended on the front end is actually being realized now with implementation?
Right, that's something we want to take a look at moving forward. The TOD hasn't been mapped anywhere before. 46th Street hasn't really worked, so we changed it. Hopefully it works. We're going to track all the developments coming in. It's easy to find, and then we can see if there need to be tweaks to the base zoning bill to see if we need anything else.
Okay then, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Record will reflect Councilwoman Blackwell is also present at our hearing. Good morning, Councilwoman. Any If no other questions, anyone else here to testify on bill number 180008? Seeing none. Ms. Marconi, our next bill, please.
Bill number 180097, an ordinance to amend the master plan for the University of Pennsylvania and to approve the proposed addition to 3620 Locust Walk.
Thank you.
Morning, Councilman Greenlee, members of the Rules Committee. I'm Marty Gregorski with the Philadelphia City Planning Commission. Bill number 180097 will amend the University of Pennsylvania's master plan, permitting the construction of a 5-story academic and research building serving the Wharton School of Business. The project would be an extension of the existing Steinberg Hall. This project was seen by Civic Design Review Committee on September 5th, 2017. The Philadelphia City Planning Commission considered the content of the bill of 180097 at its meeting on January 17th, 2017, and recommended it for approval. I'd be happy to answer any questions at this time.
Thank you, sir. Councilwoman Blackwell?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to ask you and the committee to consider this for approval. We met with this IDD bill, and we're happy to support it.
Okay. Thank you, Councilwoman.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Anyone else here to testify on bill number 180097? Seeing none, our next bill, Ms. Marconi, please.
Bill number 180101, an ordinance to amend the Philadelphia zoning maps by changing the zoning designations of certain areas of land located within an area bounded by Silverwood Street, Gay Street, Baker Street, and Carson Street, and to adopt a master plan for the former St. Mary of Assumption Catholic Church and adjacent parcels, all under certain terms and conditions.
Mr. Gregorski?
Morning, Councilman Greenlee, members of the Rules Committee. I'm Marty Gregorski with the City Planning Commission. Bill number 180101 will rezone the site of St. Mary's Church from RSA 5 residential to RMX 2 residential mixed use. The site is bounded by Silverwood, Gay Street, Baker Street, and Carson Street. Then the bill will approve the RMX 2 master plan for this site. The project consists of approximately 130,832 square feet within both new and existing structures. 3 existing buildings are proposed for adaptive reuse, 2 of which are historically certified by the city. The proposal includes 56 dwelling units, 35 within the existing church, rectory, and school, 21 within new construction, as well as 95 automobile parking spaces and approximately 30 bicycle parking spaces. The project was seen by Civic Design Review Committee on September 5th, 2017. The Philadelphia City Planning Commission will consider Bill number 180101 at its meeting of today, where the staff will recommend it for approval, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Jones?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, members of the committee. This bill, probably in my tenure as a council person, has been the most vetted, the most debated bill in the 4th Councilmatic District. But in the process, and I had to trust the process, I kind of learned a thing or two. And at the end of this process, I think we have a true compromise and actually a good product. We debated parking, we debated traffic patterns, we debated density, we debated location, we debated design, and at the end of the day, we heard from the community, and the developer had the good sense and commitment to listen to the community and adapt the project to fit the location. And I just want to say that overlays versus amendments and ordinances are different, but sometimes it is better to get it done in one fell stroke than to suffer the slings and arrows of constant lawsuits. And so we chose that, and I think at the end of the day, trusting the developer's commitment to adhering to the design, we're going to have a really good project, and I thank the committee for its consideration.
Thank you, Councilman. We've got to trust the process. I like that. Any other questions or comments? The record will reflect that we have written testimony both from Kevin Smith of the Manayunk Neighborhood Council and from Irene Madrick of the North Lake Community Center in support of this bill. Anyone else here to testify on this bill? Seeing none. Ms. Marconi, our next bill, please.
Bill number 180135, an ordinance amending Chapter 14-500 of the Philadelphia Code entitled Overlay Zoning Districts by adding a new section 14-521 entitled STM St. Mary's Master Plan Overlay and making other technical changes.
Thank you. Mr. Gregorski?
Good morning, Councilman Greenlee, members of the Rules Committee. I'm Marty Gregorski with the Philadelphia Planning Commission. Bill number 180135 proposes to create a new overlay in the area bounded by Silverwood Street, Gay Street, Baker Street, and Carson Street called the St. Mary's Master Plan Overlay District. The provision of this district will only apply to properties in the area with an approved master plan. The only provision of this new district is that drive aisles for parking may be 20 feet rather than the standard 24 feet. The St. Mary's Master Plan proposes drive aisles that are 23 feet, 1 foot short of the standard requirement. City Planning Commission staff believes that such an overlay with only one provision is unnecessary in this case. A 1-foot variance from the Zoning Board of Adjustment would be the proper route and would be supportable by the staff. Staff is also considering some zoning changes that would change the width of drive aisles in certain cases, which would make this overlay superfluous. Philadelphia City Planning Commission will consider Bill number 180135 at its meeting today, where the staff will not recommend it for approval, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Gorski. Just for the record, the Planning Commission is not saying they're against the issue itself. They just think it should be done a different way, right?
That's correct.
And we think it should be done this way.
Right.
Okay.
And you should have an amendment from the Law Department to clear up
Okay.
some language.
Okay. But the district councilman, as he described earlier, has gone through a long process, and who says, what's that?
There is an amendment to this bill from the Law Department. Changes one
Amendment from
sentence.
law, okay,
Yeah.
all right. Okay, yeah, go ahead. Councilwoman Sanchez.
Is this just a process issue? What's?
This is, basically the Planning Commission doesn't like to have too many overlays.
Right.
And this overlay basically is accounting for a 1-foot driveway aisle width. So you're supposed to have 24 feet. The developer needs 23 because of the way the site works out. So we would think it's a better route to go to the zoning board and get a variance for 1 foot rather than have something in the code forever.
In this location only?
In this location, correct.
So you want the developer to go spend $10,000?
On
For
top
someone
of all
else?
the money spent already.
Okay, okay. Where's the flexibility here?
I understand. We've been working with them for, 2 years, and this same issue popped up the first
we
roll
do
around, and they managed to find the 24 feet. So, there's maybe some room to move. But at this point, generally speaking, we are opposed to overlays, that only affect very few properties.
And how many overlays get approved that you don't agree with?
A lot. A lot.
So I think at some point you have to revisit your rule about not doing it if you know, particularly just because this project has been going on for so long. I just think it just sends a bad message when you put stuff like this on the record. It seems like we're being uncooperative when in fact you guys are, this volunteer planning commission board. Because we're spending all the time at the meetings, they go to one meeting and they want to be married to the statement that has no value.
Oh, I spent a lot of time on this case. But-
I'm saying
but-
the board, because this is a board decision, it's not a staff.
Correct. When we changed the new code, one of the goals of the new code was to remove many overlays, which we did, and some are starting to creep back, and we're trying to support that.
I think it has a lot to do with the remapping, and I know all of us are working aggressively to try to remap in a better way, but I just for the record, if someone's watching this, it appears like, we're not on the same page. I just think it's a bad message. I think people should reconsider their position. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Now, I'd like to add, I know that, and this is not directed towards you individually, Mr. Gregorski, but the Planning Commission a lot of times, talks about how we did the whole new zoning code, and oftentimes they resist changes in it, but I can think of about 4 different times the Planning Commission has come to me and is talking about technical changes in the zoning code. In fact, they are coming again.
We have another set.
And we're going to have another one coming. So, and again, this isn't directed towards you. I know you're doing the work on this, but, the Planning Commission offers a lot of changes to the zoning code, and it doesn't seem consistent that then when, in this case, a district councilman has worked long time on this and sees this as the proper way to do it, and it's as Councilwoman said, opposed on record. Again, this isn't directed at you, but
Understand.
since it was on the record, I want to put that on the record, too. Councilwoman Reynolds Brown.
Good morning, good morning. So I want to join the chorus so that there's a universal message of lack of flexibility and lack of consistency, because we know that where we know there are protocols, that leads us to be much more predictable in how we can assist those who want to make a difference in district council members' districts. And so the message should be delivered that there's no predictability, and that's required when development happens and entrepreneurs and business people have to put out significant dollars. Because I didn't hear you answer Councilwoman Sanchez's question on why not the flexibility. So I'm going to say, for budget hearings, that question will come up again, and we expect to have the answer back.
All right, I will take that message back to the
Registered.
bosses. Yes.
Okay, we thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilman Jones.
We thank you for your
Yes.
Yes,
working with
wonderful.
us and kind of being the neutral arbitrator to some of these issues. But I recall when I got elected in 2008, the number one driving issue, both in the press and in communities, was we need to do a zoning code that has by right, and that people could have predictability in build. And the same groups that were for by right, hate by right today, because there's overbuilding and things like that. So it's amazing to me that the ebb and flow of the opinion and our going back and forth is a part of the process. And it makes it a better project at the end of the day. So thank you for your help.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilman. Any other questions or comments? Sorry, Mr. Corsi, we're not trying to beat you up here.
It's okay. That's
You're
why they
here.
sent me.
Unfortunately, you're here. What can I say? The record will reflect there's written testimony again from Kevin Smith of the Manayunk Neighborhood Council in support of this bill, and the amendment will be offered at the meeting. Anyone else here to testify on Bill number 180135? Seeing none. Ms. Marconi, our final bill today, please.
Bill number 180137, ordinance to amend the Philadelphia zoning maps by changing the zoning designations of certain areas of land located with an area bounded by Adams Avenue, Tabor Avenue, Harrison Street, Whitaker Avenue, Roosevelt Boulevard, Bingham Street, East Alany Avenue, North Front Street, Nedrow Avenue, Hammond Avenue, and Crescentville Road.
Mr. Gregorski?
Good morning, Councilman Greenlee, members of the Rules Committee. I'm Marty Gregorski with the City Planning Commission. Bill number 180137 will amend the zoning designations of parcels of land in the area described. The bill proposes to amend the zoning designation of certain areas of land located in the Longcrest and Alany neighborhoods to reflect their existing land use, particularly for residential properties that are single-family and commercial properties to help facilitate their appropriate growth. The areas in both the lower Northeast District Plan, which was adopted by the Planning Commission in October 2012, and the Upper North District Plan, which was adopted by the Planning Commission in November 2016. District plan process included a vetting of all the proposed changes. Philadelphia City Planning Commission will consider Bill number 180137 at its meeting of today, and the staff will recommend it for approval. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Gregorski. And I think we have an amendment. Is that
Correct.
just technical changes? in the
Minor map
or-
changes, dimensions.
Okay, thank you. And that'll be offered at the meeting. Any questions or comments? Seeing none. Anyone else here to testify on Bill number 180137? Seeing none, that will conclude the hearing of the Committee on Rules, and momentarily we'll go into a public meeting.
Do the amendments first?
Yeah, do the amendments on the two. Okay, we are now in the public meeting of the Rules Committee, and Chair recognizes Councilwoman Sanchez.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move the amendment to Bill 180135 and the amendment to 180137.
Second.
It's been, hold on one second, I'm sorry. Yeah. All right, hold on one second.
We need another person?
Yeah.
Where'd she go?
Just one second.
Okay.
Just in case anybody raises any questions.
Yeah. In rules, you have to.
Okay, once again, this is a public meeting of the Rules Committee. Councilwoman Quinones Sanchez.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move the amendments to Bill 180135 and 180137.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded on the amendments. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, the amendments to the two bills are approved. Councilwoman Quinones Sanchez.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move for Bills 18008, 180097, 180101, 180135 as amended, 180137 as amended, and further move that the rules of council be suspended to permit first reading at our next council session.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none. The bills as read by Councilwoman Quinones Sanchez are, with the appropriate amendments, are reported out as committee favorably with a rule suspension. That concludes the meeting of the Rules Committee today. Thank you all for your participation.